Imagine a disease, a silent predator lurking in the quiet, dusty corners of our world. It's not a distant threat. It's here, in America, right now. This disease has no cure, no vaccine, and a survival rate that's less than promising. Nearly 4 out of every 10 people who contract it will die. It strikes without warning, turning a simple day of cleaning into a life-or-death battle. The enemy isn't a person or a virus spread by a sneeze. It's something much smaller, carried by the common mouse. This is Hantavirus Pulmonary Syndrome, or HPS. It starts with symptoms so ordinary: fever, muscle aches, headache. You'd think it's just the flu. But with HPS, you don't get better, you get dramatically worse. Your lungs fill with fluid, and every breath becomes a struggle. Hantavirus doesn't cause panic or headlines. It picks its victims quietly, in the most mundane circumstances. A family cleaning a cabin, a farmer sweeping a barn, a homeowner in the attic. These are the front lines. The virus waits in dried rodent droppings, urine, and saliva, ready to become airborne with the slightest disturbance. A broom, a vacuum, even a gust of wind can turn invisible dust into a deadly aerosol. Despite all our medical advances, we remain vulnerable to a virus carried by one of the most common mammals on the planet. This is a story about biology, public health, and the critical importance of awareness. Sometimes the most dangerous threats are the ones we can't see. Hantavirus is rare, but its severity is profound. Understanding it isn't just academic, it's survival. The only true defense we have against this silent killer is knowledge. So, let's arm ourselves, let's learn what we're up against, because sometimes, what you don't know can kill you. So, what exactly is hantavirus? It's not just one virus, but a family of viruses carried by different rodents worldwide. In the Americas, the main concern is Hantavirus Pulmonary Syndrome, or HPS. The virus lives inside certain mice and rats, who don't get sick but shed the virus in their urine, droppings, and saliva. Humans catch it by breathing in contaminated dust. No need to touch or be bitten by a mouse. This process is called aerosolization. Virus particles become airborne when contaminated materials are disturbed. Sweeping, vacuuming, or even walking through an infested area can put you at risk. Touching contaminated surfaces and then your face is less common, but possible. In the US, the main culprit is the deer mouse, common in rural and semi-rural areas. In the southeast, it's the cotton rat. In the northeast, the white-footed mouse. These aren't exotic rats, they're the field mice that sneak into cabins, sheds, and homes. They bring the virus with them, often unnoticed. The danger isn't just in wild places, it's anywhere these mice can get inside. Hantavirus is a hidden threat, carried by creatures we barely notice. Knowing how it spreads is the first step to protecting yourself. It's not about fear, it's about being prepared. Awareness is your best defense. Hantavirus follows its rodent hosts, so wherever you find deer mice, cotton rats, or white-footed mice, you find risk. Most US cases occur in the West, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and California, but cases have been reported in over 30 states. The risk isn't about state lines, it's about environment. Hantavirus thrives in rural and semi-rural settings, cabins, barns, sheds, campsites, and anywhere rodents and humans cross paths. Buildings closed up for a season are especially risky. The virus can survive in dry, protected conditions for days. If you live near woods, fields, or even have a cluttered backyard, you're in rodent territory. The key is to recognize risky environments, not memorize a list of states. Vigilance, not geography, is what keeps you safe. Hantavirus Pulmonary Syndrome is rare, just over 850 reported US cases since 1993, averaging 28 per year. Your odds of getting it are very low, but the case fatality rate is chilling. About 36% of those infected die. For comparison, the seasonal flu's fatality rate is less than 0.1%. Hantavirus doesn't infect many, but it's deadly to those it does. Some cases may go undiagnosed, but the severe form, HPS, is what gets counted. When the virus attacks the lungs, it does so with brutal efficiency. It's a high-consequence, low-probability event. Awareness isn't about panic, it's about respect for the threat. For those affected, it's a personal crisis of the highest order. Hantavirus starts like the flu: fatigue, fever, muscle aches, maybe headache or nausea. You'd think it's just a bug going around, not a deadly virus. This is the great deception. You treat it like the flu, but a critical window for medical help is closing. Early symptoms last for days, while the virus quietly prepares its main assault. If you've been in rodent-infested areas and developed sudden flu-like illness, tell your doctor. That detail can change everything. Early diagnosis is crucial. In Hantavirus, what you don't say could cost you your life. After several days of flu-like symptoms, Hantavirus reveals its true danger. Suddenly, you can't breathe. Your lungs fill with fluid, and every breath is a struggle. It feels like drowning from the inside. The virus makes lung capillaries leak, flooding air sacs with fluid. This is pulmonary edema, and it can progress in hours. Even healthy people can go from walking to life support overnight. As oxygen drops, the heart strains, blood pressure crashes, and organs begin to fail. The decline is rapid and relentless, a medical emergency of the highest order. Once this stage hits, survival becomes a race against time. Even top hospitals struggle to keep up. The body is at war, and the lungs are the battlefield. This is why Hantavirus is so feared. When Hantavirus patients reach the hospital, doctors have no cure, no antiviral, no vaccine. Treatment is supportive. Keep the patient alive while the immune system fights. Oxygen is the top priority, first with masks, then with a ventilator if needed. In severe cases, ECMO, an artificial lung, may be used. Early recognition and ICU care give the best chance of survival. Waiting too long at home can be fatal. Modern medicine can only support, not cure. The fight is about buying time for the body to recover. In the end, survival depends on timing and luck. Consider Mark and Sarah, a young couple cleaning out their new cabin. They swept up mouse droppings, thinking dust masks were enough. Weeks later, Mark developed flu-like symptoms, fatigue, fever, muscle pain. He assumed it was just a bad bug. On the fourth day, he woke up gasping for air, lips blue. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital, but his lungs were already filled with fluid. Doctors suspected Hantavirus after learning about the cabin cleanup. Despite intensive care, Mark's organs began to fail. Less than 24 hours after his first breathing trouble, Mark was gone. 5 days from first symptoms to tragedy. A healthy young man, lost to an invisible enemy. Hantavirus doesn't discriminate. It strikes fast and hard. Awareness could have made all the difference. Hantavirus is terrifying, but you're not helpless. Knowledge is your shield. Prevention is everything. Avoid stirring up dust in rodent-infested areas. Seal up entry points. Mice can squeeze through tiny holes. Trap and remove rodents before cleaning. Air out closed spaces for at least 30 minutes before entering. Wear gloves and a proper respirator, N95 or better. Never sweep or vacuum droppings. Spray with disinfectant, let soak, then wipe up. Disinfect all surfaces after cleanup. Dispose of waste safely, and wash hands thoroughly. These steps are your best defense. Treat rodent cleanup as hazardous, not routine. Knowledge and caution stand between you and a deadly disease.